Today, I'm going to show you how to prepare for your next Excel job interview or test. Whether you're a fresh graduate stepping into the corporate world or a new hire suddenly thrown into the world of Excel, or an experienced professional just looking to sharpen your skills, this tutorial is for you. Over 1 billion people use Excel worldwide, and it remains one of the most widely used tools across industries. If you work in roles like data analysis, finance, benefits, accounting, or project management, Excel is not optional, it is essential. In this tutorial, you'll learn some of the most commonly tested and most practical Excel functions used in the workplace. I've also included into this tutorial a practice dataset that you can follow along with. You'll find the link in the description section. Let me know in the comment section if you found this helpful. Let's get into the tutorial. This workbook has your data set and the test questions. So let's get right into it so that we don't waste any more time. So the first question is remove grid lines and freeze pins so the header stays visible when scrolling. Please note that some of these questions were AI generated based on research and analysis of the most asked questions for Excel interviews. So if there's anything that is slightly off, I made some changes in the course of the video, so bear with me as we go into it. So to remove grid lines, I'm going to go to View. For the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to be using the normal method, not shortcuts, just so you understand and you know how to find things. So to remove grid lines, I go to View and I click on grid lines and it's turned off. The other part of the question says freeze pins so the header row stays visible when scrolling down. So I just have to highlight this and it's still under View. I click on freeze pins and I freeze top row. So now when I scroll, the top row stays intact. So I'm just going to check this as done. The other question says add a blue background color and white font to the header row, then add a filter to the header row. To do that, I'm going to highlight my header row again and come here, the color fill, and it's already on blue, but I could change it to a different kind of blue. But this looks good. And I'm going to click on this letter, the font color, to change it to color white. No one asked me this, but I'm going to bolden it as well. And then add a filter to the header row. So I'm just going to go to under Home, I'm going to find Sort and Filter, then click on Filter. And that's done. So I'm going to click on this. The next question says change the total sales column to currency format with 2 decimal places. So I'm going to come here. This is the total sales. I'm going to highlight this and go to General, then change to currency. It's already in 2 decimal places, but if I want to reduce or increase, I just need to do this or do this. And that is done. In any empty cell, write a formula to calculate the sum of all units sold. I'm just going to come here and write sum of units sold, or sum of total sales. To do that, I could either do equal to sum, open bracket, copy the range of cells, and close bracket, then click on enter. Or I could just come here where I want my total to be, then click on auto sum and get the same results. I'm going to bolden this just for the sake. Then I can click on this. The next question says highlight duplicate values in the order ID column using conditional formatting. This is the order ID column, so I'm just going to highlight this and go to conditional formatting, highlight cells rules, duplicate values. So we can see that order number 101 is repeated twice. So that is done. The next question says in an empty cell, count how many salespersons are here. It doesn't tell you to count the number of unique salespersons. So we might as well just count the total number of salespersons. To count salespersons, you would have to make use of the count a function. To write any function or any formula in Excel, you will have to start with equal to. So I'm going to do count a. The reason I use count a is because we're counting things like text or letters. If we're counting numbers, then you only need to use count. So I'm just going to use count a, highlight, and enter. So there are 30 salespersons. But in the real sense, if we were asked to count the unique number of salespersons, because you can see there are repetitions here, then you might just do equal to count a, open bracket. You can open bracket by using the open bracket or clicking the tab button. Then write unique, then array, close bracket again, Control B. So there are actually 4 unique salespersons, but that was not the instruction. So I'm just going to take this out. Replace the value in total sales with a formula. So this is the value in total sales. Clearly it is units times unit price. So I'm just going to do this multiplied by this and drag down. We still get the same sum, and that's now this is replaced with a formula, and that is done. In a new column called bulk order, write an if formula that says yes if units are greater than 20, otherwise no. So I'm just going to call this bulk order, and the instruction says to use a conditional formula. If to start your formula, you have to start with equal to if this is your number of units. If it is greater than 20, give me yes. However, before you write a text in a formula in Excel, you have to add your quotation marks. It says otherwise give me no. So is it a bulk? If it's a bulk order, that means the total number of units has to be greater than 20. So if that's the case, give me yes, otherwise give me no. So I just need to drag my formula down, and that's it. You can see when it's on 20, it's still a no. But if my formula was, if it is greater than or equal to 20, give me yes, otherwise give me no. When I drag down, I see now that 20 is a yes, but that's not the instruction. So I'm just going to undo that. And we're done with that. So the next question says to sum if to calculate total sales if product is a laptop. So I'm just going to do sum if, open brackets, copy the product range, comma, the criteria, it's a laptop, so I'm just going to put my quotation mark and close it. And the sum range, the total sales, that's what we want to know. So there has been $10,400 in total laptop sales. I'm just going to click this as done. The next question is sum ifs to calculate total sales for region if it's so we want to calculate the total sales on electronics in the southern region. Now they've told you to use the sum ifs, but sometimes they may not tell you that. So you have to know that if it is multiple criteria, you are using sum ifs. If it is a single criteria, you're using sum if. So we want to do sum ifs for South and electronics, close bracket. So I'm just going to do equal to sum ifs. Unlike sum if, you end with the sum range, but with sum ifs, you start with the sum range. So my sum range is total sales, comma. You have to also read the instructions in Excel or the suggestions Excel is giving you. because it gives you an idea of what to do next. So what's the first criteria range? The region. It has to be from the south. And what's the criteria for the region? It has to be from the south. Comma. What's the second criteria? It has to be under categories. What specifically under categories? Electronics. Then you close brackets. So we have 4,450 in total sales of electronics from the south. Use COUNTIF to count how many transactions have sales greater than 500. Like I said, sometimes they may not tell you what formula to use. So if they say calculate or count how many transactions have total sales greater than 500, you already know the best thing to do is count if greater than 500. So what you need to do is equal to count if. You must always add an equal to before you write any formula. Follow the hints Excel is giving to you, the range. This is the range, comma. What is the criteria? It has to be greater than 500. Since it's strictly not a number, we're going to add our quotation marks in and after, before and after. Then we close it. 9. So there are 9 total sales made that is greater than 500. An easier method to do this will be to highlight your total sales, go to conditional formatting, highlight your cell rules greater than 500. Okay, then you can clearly see it. But they didn't tell us to highlight it, they said to count it. So I'm going to undo this. Let's go here and click done. The next one is use XLOOKUP to find the unit price of product mouse. This looks like a very straightforward question, but it could be very tricky, especially if your mouse has different unit prices. But thankfully, our mouse has just one particular unit price. So let's see how that goes. So we want to use XLOOKUP to find the price of mouse. So I'm going to do equal to XLOOKUP. Look up this value. Look up array in this place. Where can we find mouse? Here, comma, return array. Here, we're looking for the unit price for mouse. So mouse unit price is $20. This is a very straightforward process, but it could get complicated if your mouse has more than one unique value. You can watch out for my next couple of videos where I'll be showing you the different methods to do your XLOOKUP function. So this is done. The next one, remove duplicates based on the order ID column only. I think that's a bit of a true question because although the order ID has a duplicate, the information does not have a duplicate. To remove duplicates, you want to go to data, highlight what you need, then click on remove duplicates, select what you need, then remove. But I don't want to remove the duplicates here because it just doesn't make sense to delete a whole data set based off of one order ID duplication. So I'll rather just delete the order ID number and leave it as blank, which means there's something probably missing or an error there. Apply conditional formatting to highlight any cell in the units column that is less than 5 with a yellow fill. So you just want to highlight the units, go to conditional formatting, highlight cell rows, click on less than 5, but it says with a yellow fill with dark yellow text. You can do this, or you can go to custom formatting, fill, then pick a color, then OK. But I'm okay with this, so that works fine. Okay, good. The next one says create a pivot table on a new sheet showing total sales by region. To create a pivot table, you want to highlight this, go to insert, pivot table. It says on a new worksheet, so that's okay. What's the question again? Create a new pivot table showing total sales by region. So we need the region and we need total sales. And that's it. From the pivot table, insert a pivot chart. This is our pivot table. So we're going to insert a pivot chart. It says to insert a column pivot, which is already there. So we're just going to insert this. Okay. And this is our pivot chart. I don't like grid lines, so I'm just going to turn them off. Yeah. So we have done this. I'm just going to click OK. Wrap text in the product column. Product column. So we have to go back to our data set. This is the product column, but I don't think that will matter much because the texts are not even that long. But click on wrap text anyway. Remove it. Or click on wrap text anyways. Man, I'm just going to unwrap it, but that's how you wrap your text if you have a longer value. But yeah, that's how you wrap your text. Because the next question says use text to columns to split the salesperson column into first and last name, I'm going to create another column here that has the full names of the salesperson. So I just replaced the names of each salesperson with their full name. So it's not just a single name, it's their full name. So the next question says use text to columns to split the salesperson column into first and last name. There's so many easier ways to do this, but the instruction says to use the text to column. So the way the text to column works is we're going to split these names into two. So the section we have split will need another column to fill up. I'm just going to insert one column. You can always bring this back if you want. Okay, so this will be, so now I'm going to do like a text to column split or a text split. So using the text to column, it will be go to data, go to text to columns, then use a delimiter next. So there's a space. Once there's a space between, that's the common thing between all these names. So I just click next and I finish. And that split has been done into first name and last name. There's so many more easier ways to do this. You can use a text split function. You can use a flash fill function. There's so many ways to do this, but using the text to column, that's exactly how it's done. So this is salesperson's first name and last name. So this is done. Select all data and apply autofit to all columns. To apply autofit, you need to go to home, go to format, then autofit column width. And that's done. Insert a new row between row 21 and 22 of the dataset and enter the following details. So I'm just going to move this and name it pivot so we just don't lose track of it. So this is the data set. I'm going to, this is between row 21 and 22. So I'm just going to insert, then add all this information. Just gonna put it here so I can see order ID 131, date 25, salesperson, Patel region. But since we already split this, just going to do this. North tablet. Product is a tablet. Electronics. Unit 4300. 4300. So this updates automatically, and it changes. This also updates automatically, and the total you can see also has updated itself automatically. I'm just going to delete this row because I don't need it. So that is done. Now we want to insert a new column called discounts to the right of total sales. There are many ways to insert a new column, but the fastest way can be just to click on the column letter and do insert, or Control plus. There are many ways to do this. As long as you know one, then it's okay. So we're going to call this discount. Where is it? Add a new column called discount to the right of total sales. Done. In the discount column, write an if formula: 10% if units are greater than 10, otherwise 0%. Similar to the if function we did earlier. So if this is greater than 10, give me 10%, otherwise 0%. But my discount is showing currency, so I need to change it here to percentage, or I just click here to change it to percentage, and I drag down. So we can see once it's greater than 10, I get 10% discount, and that is done. Add a new column called discounted total and calculated total sales, which is total sales multiplied by discount. Insert. Total sales times discount. I'll call this discounted total sales. So that will be this times this. That's the discount amount, but instead of being in percentage, it has to be in currency. So this is the discount issued. This is done. Insert a blank row above row 1 and type title sales report 2025 in A1. Merge and center it across all columns. Sales report 2025. So I'm just going to do this. So to insert a row, you can just come to the row you want to insert it above or beyond, then click on insert. So now I can insert the title, which is sales report 2024 to 2025. Then we're asked to do a merge and center across. So to do a merge and center across, you need to highlight all the way, then click on merge and center, and that's done. Next, we are asked to apply a data validation dropdown to the region column, so users can only select north, south, east, and west. So you come to your data set and you highlight everything, then you go to data, then you go to data validation, click on data validation, change any value to list, then you write north, south, comma, east, comma, west. Then you click on OK. So now people can only do a drop down and change from north to south or east to west. We're halfway through this tutorial. If you found this useful so far, please subscribe to this channel. The next question also says to apply a data validation dropdown to the category column so users can only select electronics or accessories. I'm going to also show you how to do that but using a different method. So let's say this is my backend and I want users to pick between electronics and and I want users to pick between electronics and accessories. So I just need to come to my data set, I highlight, then I go to data validation, I click on data validation, I click on list, then I go to my source file, I copy this. This is useful when you have a lot of drop downs that you want to include in your data set. So I click on OK, and like that, it's updated. So now you can only pick between electronics and accessories. That is done. We can decide to hide this page. The next question is create a bar chart showing product on the horizontal axis and total sales on the vertical axis. So this is my data set. So we want to show products and total sales. So to do that, I'm going to create a simple pivot table for this. I know it says not a pivot chart, but let's see. Insert pivot table, existing worksheet. I'll do that somewhere here and I click OK. So I want my products and total sales. Okay. So once I have this, I can just copy and paste it as no I can just copy and paste it so it's no longer a pivot table. Long process, but yeah. Then so I have this. Now I can use this for my chart. So I just need to copy this, then go to insert and insert my chart. So this is my product by total sales. But the question says product should be on the horizontal axis and total sales on the vertical axis. So this is total sales on the vertical axis, this is product on the horizontal axis. So that is good. The next one says add data labels to the bar chart. To add data labels, you need to click on your chart, then click on this chart element, the plus sign, then data labels, check, click check. Done. Change the chart title to sales by product. So I'm just going to go back to my chart and double click here. You can type or you can paste. I'm just going to remove this, and that is also done. The next question says create a line chart showing date on the horizontal axis and total sales on the vertical axis. My best method is to always summarize it or create. There are other ways beyond a pivot table, but besides this, you can do a group by just to summarize your data. You can do sum ifs just to summarize your data. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to stick with pivot table on this existing sheet. So I'm just going to do this. So I want my date and I want what? Date and total sales. So this is, I just always like to convert it to a normal table before trying to. You can just insert a pivot chart anyway, but just stick into the instructions. So insert recommended charts. We've been asked to create a line chart. So these are line charts. Can pick any one that works. The next question is says use concatenate to combine salesperson and region into a new column called salesperson underscore region. So we're going to use the concatenate function to combine salesperson and region. So I'm just going to insert another new tab and add this here. Salesperson by region. So I created an extra column to do that, but I noticed my data validation functions are still showing and I want to take that out. So to do that, I just need to highlight, go to data, click on data validation, change data validation from list to any value, and it disappears, so which is good. I know the filter button was supposed to be on, but I'm just going to turn it off either by going to home and turning off filter or just doing Ctrl Shift L. Okay, so to do the concatenate function for salesperson region, I'm just going to do equal to, so you can do this or you can use a text join function. So I'm just going to do concat. You can do concat or concatenate. Concatenate, I think it's the older version, but we're going to use concat for this purpose. So concat, open bracket, text 1, comma. Next one is I'm adding like an underscore. So I'm just going to do quotation marks, comma, text 2, and I close bracket. So this is what we have, and it's done. The next question is use upper to convert all product names to uppercase in a new column. These are the product names. To create a new column, you can do Control Plus or go to Insert and insert a new column. So it says products in uppercase. So I'm just going to do equal to upper, open bracket, the text, then we drag down, and that is done. Use trim to remove any extra spaces from the product column. So for example, use trim to remove any extra spaces from the product column. Create a new column for the version. To make this work, I'm just going to tamper with my product a little bit. So you see the way mouse is written, I added a little bit of space here just to show you what happens when we use trim. So now this is saying to use trim. So I'm just going to be putting there that trim product. So we can see what mouse and USB cable looks like here. When we do trim, so equals to trim. So sometimes they might not tell you what to do. Like they might just say clean up this. So you know that you have to either use clean or trim. So I'm just going to do trim text and I drag down. So you see that my mouse has moved from that extra space to a normal presentation, which is good. And we use this a lot to clean up data when there is 1 or 2 extra spaces that is just messing up the data set. The next one says use left to extract the first 3 letters of salesperson into a new column. So like I said, the question will not tell you to use left or right. It could just say extract the first 3 letters of salesperson into a new column. So to do that, you just need to, I'm going to create that here. So no, let me not do it here. Let me do it salesperson, insert. So we want to extract the first three letters. Name, name. So to do that, you just need to do left text. How many characters do you want? You want 3. So that's what you have here. Supposing they want you to provide maybe the last 3 letters, you just need to do equal to right text 3. So that's how left and right works. Like I said, they may not always tell you what formula to use. It's up to you to use your discretion to know what to pick or to know what works best. Use round to round unit price to the nearest whole number in a new column. So they want us to use the round function to round the unit price to the nearest whole number. Column. These are already in whole numbers, but supposing they aren't, let's say they are like this, you may want to just do equal to round, take this, comma, 0. Did it say 0 or 2? To the nearest whole number. So let's say this was like 2.55. So let's say this was 2.55. When you round it to this, it becomes 3. Or when you round it to 1, it becomes 2.6. Or when you round it to 3, it becomes 2.550. So that's how you do your rounding. But I think it's an unnecessary question. I think it's an unnecessary question for this round. So I'm just going to click this. Calculate how many days ago each transaction occurred. I could create my column here just to bring it closer to my date, but it's up to you. Days ago. So we have days ago. So I'm just going to do today. Today gives you today's date minus the current date value. So this is in a date format. So I'm just going to change it to a number format or a general format. And center it. So this happened 818 days ago. You just need to drag down, and this gives you the idea of what you need. So this is done as well. So I updated this question a little bit just to show you something. So replace all dates with year only. So supposing I want just the year only. So I could just do year this equal to this, and I have this. So this is good. The next question says rank total sales amount in descending order. So this is my total sales. I'm just going to insert and put my heading as ranking. I keep updating some of the questions just because I feel like it's more reasonable and it's something you'll most likely stumble on than some of the questions that have been included. So I'm just going to do equal to rank EQ, open bracket, this number, what's the reference range? This is the reference range. I'm going to lock that so it doesn't move. Then comma, what order, descending or ascending order? I want descending order. Then I close my bracket, then I drag down. So this is the highest ranking, and this is this is the number 1 rank, and this is number 31st rank. That's the lowest value, and this is the highest value. That's beautiful. So the next one says create a pivot table showing salespersons as rows and regions as columns. So I'm just going to go back here. Salesperson as rows, and I'm going to move region to columns. I don't need the sum, but with total sales values. Okay, so we have that. Okay. So what else does it say? So I'm just going to delete this because I don't think I need it. Create a pivot table showing salesperson as rows and regions. These are my regions, salespersons. Okay, this is good. Insert a slicer for the region field on the pivot table. So to insert a slicer, click on any part of your pivot table, go to insert, click on slicer, insert a slicer for what? Insert a slicer for the region field. Slicer region. Okay. Insert a slicer for the region field on the pivot table here. So when we click this, we see only this, or you could turn off the slicer. So this is good as well. Create a pie chart showing total sales by category. Total sales by category. Like I said, to do that, I will most likely prefer to do like a pivot table. So I'm just going to adjust my pivot table. For example, I'm going to undo all this. So I'm going to do category and total sales. So create a pie chart showing total sales by categories. So if I highlight this, insert a pie chart, so this is it. So this is my total sales by category using a pie chart. I just need to highlight, go to insert, and go to my chart. Like this, looks cute. Looks cute. And you can click on it to change the color. Easy peasy. Just double tap on the one you wish to change. Lovely. Next one is add percentage labels to the pie chart. Ooh. Hey guys, so I had to insert this midway. I noticed a part of my video was paused, so I was just doing all of those things without recording. Anyways, the next question was supposed to be add percentage labels to the pie chart. The way to do that is come here, right click, go to value field settings, show value as, from no calculation, change it to percentage of grand total. Okay, once you do that, it's supposed to be in percentage format. Once you do that, it's now changed it to percentage format. Then when you right click on this, you'd see data labels, and your data labels would then be in percentage format. So that is correct. Let me just delete this. So that is good. Group the data field. The next question is group the data field in the pivot table by year and quarter. To do that, you can just click on your pivot table, then go to insert, then insert timeline, then click on date, then OK. That way you can move around by years, by month. But you need to change this from percentage back to grand total. So just right click, value field settings, show value as, no calculation. Okay, but you need to change it to currency. And that's how that is done. I'm rushing through this because it's like a repetition. The next one is insert a new worksheet and rename it to summary. To do that, just click this plus sign, new sheet, double tap and rename to summary. But now I'm going to rename this as summary 1. Then you can move it to anywhere you want it to be. And if you want to create a duplicate, just click on Ctrl and drag till you see this plus sign. So that's good. So I'm just going to click this. The next one, in cell A1 of the summary sheet, link to the total sales sum of the original sheet. So you just need to do, so you just need to do, now I have so many sheets, so just focus on this one. So you just need to do equal to your data set total, and that's good. Just going to change this to currency. Okay, so that's done. The next one is hide the unit price column. So I already hid it because I didn't know it wasn't recording, but yeah, just click on the column, then right click and hide. And that's how that is done. The next one is save your file as Excel test your name. To do that, just file, save as, browse, replace my name with SLS, save, and that's how you save. I want to use Copilot to replicate, but I'm getting an error message, and that's why one of the reasons you cannot completely depend on AI. You should know some of these things, but in a situation where it's actually working properly, it would help you generate your data into a new tab, or it will show you how to do it. There's so many ways to do this. You can just do equal to, and you copy every single thing you have here. Then you can go here, highlight it, click on format painter, then do the same here, and you're good to go. So there's so many ways to do this. Copilot can show you how to do that, how to replicate that. But that's the idea behind that question. So we're gonna click this as done. Then question 49 now, which I replaced, is convert your data set into a PDF document. So let's say I want to convert this into a PDF document. I think for the best thing would be to go to view to see what is captured in. Can I take off this page break review? Do I want to include this? So to do that, I'm just going to click on file, export, create PDF, and in my downloads, publish. Of course, you can adjust your settings so it doesn't look this small, but that's how you convert your document in. I'm going to click that. And lastly, protect the entire sheet with a password test123. Allow sorting and filtering. Ha 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 ha. Ooh, ooh, ooh. To protect all sheets at once, you will probably have to make use of VBA function, which we would not be going to in this tutorial. So you might have to protect your sheets individually, or you protect your workbook as a whole with a password. But to protect your sheet, this is what you do. You right click and click on protect sheet. In my other tutorial, I've shown how to allow some editable ranges under your protected sheet. I'll link the tutorial in this video somewhere. But it says to allow filtering, allow sorting, and allow filtering. Use allows protect sheet, allow users to sort, to filter, yes, and test 1, 2, 3. Okay. Test 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now my sheet is protected and I cannot edit anything. No one else can edit anything unless they unprotect this sheet. So you have to do that for the other sheets as well. And how do you unprotect? Test 123, that's my password. Right click, unprotect sheet. So this is done. If you watched this tutorial up to this point, good job. You are setting yourself up for success. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.